YouTube, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. Another video. How y'all doing? It's good to see y'all. Thank you for being here with me today. You know what it is? Hey, look, you know my routine. You know my routine. Don't act like you don't know my routine. And you've been here, you know my routine. I want to know how you doing. I want to know how your family doing. I want to know how your dog doing. I want to know how your friends doing. Are you alright? Your heart, you so good? Your mind good? Everything good? Good. Great. I hope it is. And if it's not, then I hope when you leave the channel today, it is. That's my intro. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Another day on the channel. Today we're gonna watch 3 very disturbing military / war horror stories. See what the deal is. Look, I think about this a lot, right? This is like probably I'm in one of the first generations. I'll say first couple generations of men that, like, when you were born, it wasn't really expected of you to go to war. Hey, look, all glory to God on that one. All glory to God on that one, because that would have to be a no from your boy. Yeah, I would probably have to hit that jail cell. Yeah, especially, come on, bro. Like, I'm black too. Like, you think I'm finna fight and die for this country? Are you crazy? Are you wild? Are you bananas? How you lost it? That's gonna be a no from me. All respect to the people who do. All I'm talking about, utmost respect to the people who do, because, bruh, you be seeing some stuff and you hear the stories of people talking about this stuff. I'm like, bro, I just think I would pee my pants real fast. I think I would pee my pants and possibly poop my pants real fast and be crying, talking about when I go home explosions. It's nah, bro. Like, and then you hear that war is mostly waiting. Like, imagine you survive a battle. You survive a battle. First of all, probably a crazy feeling. Like, all right, I'm here. Like, all right, cool, boom. You gotta wait a year and a half to do it again. I'm cool, bro. I'm off that. I'm off that. I'm gonna run away and frolic away with some foreign hoes. You won't see me. You know, what do you call that? Discharge, not discharge, but you abandonment, whatever it is. I'm doing that. I can't do it, bro. Let's get into it. I'm talking too much. But I think these are like mythical stories. Like, they heard about creatures on the battlefield. I don't know. We'll find out as we go. Let's see.
This particular story took place when I was in the Air Force and stationed in Louisiana. I won't mention the name of the base, but I'm sure that there are many people out there who will know which one it is once I make mention of some of the details to this story. This story took place a few years after I had been stationed there. I first arrived to this base in 2006, and upon my arrival, I, along with many other new troops, were greeted with many different stories of horror. There were stories about a man in a top hat who walked a dark, long and narrow dirt road on the outskirts of a storage facility area. There was another story about a crazy man who was hit by a
Realistically, that was probably just a crackhead. That's all I'm saying.
patrol car and ran off into the woods next to the same place.
It's probably just a
But
crackhead.
my story relates to a separate story that was told to me. It was my second night on shift, as I recall. I was posted with an airman who had been there for several years. He gave a rundown about some little girl who had been visiting her father when the storage area we were working in was being constructed, which was well before any of our time. The story went that that little girl was playing on some of the structures while her father was working, but had fallen to her death by slipping off the edge at the top of the structure itself. Most of the story didn't make sense to me at the time, but regardless of the facts, it still scared the shit out of me. To make matters worse, the airman had taken me to the exact place where the supposed story took place. He would shut off the engine and turned off the music as we just sat there in silence. He startled me a few times, but nothing ever happened. Now, skip forward about 3 years. I was scheduled to work that particular spot of the base this night. Keep in mind that I'd been visiting this spot for years now, but it
Look, I don't care if you took me to one place one time and told me that there's a ghost there. I'm not going back there for probably any reason. Unless there's a lot of money there or something like that, and I only got to go and grab it, and I'm still gonna be terrified. But I don't. You can skip all that. You want me to not come somewhere? Tell me there's a ghost there. Tell me there's monsters. I told you how I feel about ghosts and monsters. And I don't get, like, I don't care. I'm 26. Blah blah blah. I don't care. I don't like ghosts. I don't like monsters. Not going back.
At this point, the storage area had been completely closed down except for a few minor areas,
Oh, no.
which required us to do physical drive-thrus and checks of this area. The shift itself started out rather shitty. Me and my Alpha, aka partner, had been given a cattle truck to do this patrol, as our normal vehicle was in the shop for maintenance. Yeah, I'm not kidding, a cattle truck. I know this part doesn't seem very important to the story at the moment, but it will tie into the story eventually. So to save on time, let's skip forward a few hours. We were scheduled to do 3 random checks of the storage facility that night, and we had already completed 2 of the 3 prior without any issues. So come about 4 o'clock in the morning, we decided to do our last check, seeing as all the maintenance guys had went home for the night in this area. The only way to access the area was with 2 very large separate gates, which took forever to open. We pile in, lock the gates behind us, and continue on our way. My Alpha was driving during this check, and I was the spotter who used the flashlight to check the lock on each structure. An important detail that I left out, which may be necessary here, is that the story of the little girl had taken place on a road within the storage area, which we called Echo Street. By this point, everything was fine, and we had finished our rounds. My Alpha makes the final turn down Echo Street. We had both been pretty talkative during most of the night, and we were just shooting the shit, when I got an uneasy feeling. Something felt different, but I couldn't make out what it was.
Do y'all, okay. I hate scary stuff. Do y'all get those feelings when you're in like certain environments or it's like you're like alone? And I feel like for me, when it happens, like my ears, like it's almost like I can't control it. Like my ears perk up in a way and I can feel it changing. And then you feel that kind of like tingle down your spine. And you're like, all right, something weird. I don't know. I don't like that. I get those feelings though, and then I usually just leave. That's my solution. I'm not on some like, oh, it's probably just this. I don't think so. It's also like I would never do a security job. Security is like when you're somewhere late at night, fam. Everything's just so creepy late at night, bruh. Like churches and schools, even like a school, it's just creepy. And it's like the security people always die first in the movie, bro. Every time, I just can't do it.
We were about halfway down the road when things became almost completely and frighteningly silent. Even the rumble of our cattle truck and the faint noise of the radio playing seemed to become less audible. As we approached the structure from my previous story, and I must stress at this point that even telling or typing this part still brings a chill down my spine and makes my eyes tear up in fear, but as we approached the structure itself, I turned my head to the outside of the window opposite of the structure, and out of my left ear, I hear a sound that nearly caused me to piss myself. It was the sound of a person groaning or moaning in distress.
Okay,
Sort of like...
I ain't gonna lie, I just got really scared. I didn't think that was the sound that was gonna play. I ain't gonna lie, I just got really scared. Oh my god. I know I'm good. Oh my god. Oh my god, I ain't gonna lie, I just got really scared. That's crazy. Alright, cool. That was not it, what? I think my roommate's upstairs. If my roommate was not here, I ain't gonna lie, I probably would have stopped this right now. I ain't gonna lie to you. I hate scary stuff so much. Alright, let's just... 4 minutes in, baby. Let's keep going.
The moan of the girl from The Grudge. Yes, I'm very serious. The faint, creepy moan begins to ring inside the cab of the truck between the two of us, in between the dark emptiness of the middle seat. I feel my blood turn cold, and I quickly turn to my Alpha and yell, "Dude, cut that shit out." My Alpha turns to me with a confused look on his face. At this point, he begins to take his foot off the accelerator and asks, "Am I going too fast?" I remain silent.
No, nigga, you're not going too fast. The only thing you're not doing is going too fast. You can keep it down on that. Why would you take...
Silent for a moment, with my hand in a pausing gesture, and I listen. I hear the noise again.
Nope, don't play it.
My partner interrupts and asks, "What's wrong?" I quickly turn the music off without saying anything at first, and then I whisper to him, "Do you hear that?" He stops the truck in confusion and listens closely. It was almost dead silent for a second or two when we both hear it this time. That long, chilling groan of a woman. It echoed in my ears. It sounded like someone was struggling to breathe and taking in a giant breath of air while someone was trying to strangle them. The sound was beyond terrifying, and the fact that I wasn't the only one hearing it only made it more of a horrifying experience. I found myself beginning...
Okay. In a situation like that, is it scarier if you hear something like that and you're the only one that can hear it, or if you can hear something like that and both of you hear it? Because my thing is that, like, if only you can hear it, it's like, now we got a real problem. If I'm the only one that can hear it, we got a real problem. And anybody who's with me, you're not leaving me until we figure it out. I'm sleeping at your house. We taking showers together. We doing everything's happening together until that stops. And then even when it stops, we doing everything together for at least another month or two until I know it's gone. And that's just gonna be that. We're gonna have to figure it out. But if we both hear it, it's like, I don't know, because it's like, bro, that means something's really there. And it's not psychological, but it's physical. Also a problem. Also a real problem. I don't like this. I ain't gonna lie. I really hate this. God, I didn't think this video was gonna be this scary. I don't watch these videos before I do this, bro. I did not think this was gonna be this scary. I just wanted it to be over. Let's go.
Beginning to ask him my original question again, but he quickly interrupts and says with a strong sound of fear in his voice, "What the f*** is that?" We stupidly waited to see if we could hear it again. The rumble of the gates on the back of the truck are easily heard and recognized as they made a sort of metal-on-metal clatter, and the diesel engine has that typical rumble as well. But in between both the noises, we heard it again for the final time. That groan. It sounded even louder, but this time, it sounded like it was coming from both inside and outside of the truck. Like we were being surrounded by whatever was making that noise of distress. Without even making a peep, my alpha puts the truck in drive, and he hauls our asses off that street quicker than I have ever gone on any other street in that entire base. He nearly flips the truck going around a curve, but it doesn't bother us one bit. We were both in an unspoken agreement that we wanted to get out of there quickly. We got to the 2 gates again, and I hopped out of the truck as fast as I could. My alpha watched my back as I quickly opened both gates. He jumped back into the driver's seat, sped out, and waited for me to close both gates as well. Once we completed that task, we quickly returned to the main part of the base, and we requested to meet with our flight chief to tell him what had happened. When we finally met up with him, we expected him to think that we were both full of shit, or that we had just imagined the entire thing, being as it was so late into our 12-hour shift, and we were both tired. But I clearly remember him saying to the both of us, "I completely believe you. As a matter of fact, I had something like that happen to me twice, once in that same place, and the other in that building behind you," as he points out.
Nah. It's just one of them things where it's like, yo, what did Patrick say? Why don't we pick up the base and push it somewhere else? Cause there's a ghost, nigga. And it's groaning in people's ears. It's moaning in niggas' ears. We don't need to keep running the patrol. The ghost got it. They patrolling the area. Anybody go and try to do some shit here, they gonna leave. I think we good on the patrols. I don't think anybody's gonna go in there, bro. We're good on the patrols. I just can't.
At our jailhouse. Again, I know that sounds completely cliche with that grudge-like moan we had heard, but it honestly happened, and it still brings those tears of fright into my eyes every time I tell it. I went back to that storage area only once after that, but I never went down that road again, and I never went after dark.
Alright, I hated that. On to the next one.
I haven't told my story to many people except for my wife and a few other of my close friends. It happened while I was stationed in the Army as a radio operator during the Vietnam War, and I haven't forgotten it to this day. I was a young recruit, freshly drafted out of high school, and I didn't know much about the war. I had no idea what I was getting into or what it was all for, but what I did know was that I had a duty to my fellow servicemen. We arrived on a Friday evening and got loaded onto many buses to be taken to our barracks. The air was very humid, and the soil was soaking wet due to a storm that had just passed through the area. I vividly remember the drive and how it stunk like sewer. My first night was uneventful and quiet. but we all felt the tense atmosphere as our drill sergeants taunted us with stories during basic training. I remember the half moon right over my head, which kept peeking out from over the clouds, and all of us were just sitting around telling jokes. I was more of a technical guy and didn't have much aptitude for comedy, so I just listened in. My duty was to manage communications between my unit and all of our other guys so that everyone knew what was going on everywhere else. I carried a box on my back, which were the size of radio devices back then, and also a ton more equipment and supplies. I was quickly assigned to a tight-knit unit who had just lost their communications operator to a landmine, and I remember the first time we made contact with the enemy.
Look, let me tell you something. Another thing about war, I know we talked about this, but being the guy that has to like replace the dude in the squad that like just died, oh God. Not trying to do that, bro. Not trying to do that, bro. It's like in Call of Duty how like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if I was the NPC that had the bazooka and then I looked to my left and saw the main character, I'd be like, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. Because that guy always dies and then you pick up the bazooka and take it. So you're just like, bro, you see that? Oh, bro, I'm done, bro. I'm done. It would just be weird. You're like, dang, these guys really knew that guy and that guy's just dead. That nigga dead. Because of a landmine. I can't do it. I can't do it. All right, let's go.
It was the loudest thing I ever heard. We were in a dense part of the jungle and couldn't see the enemy at all, but we quickly ducked as soon as they began firing at us, and we opened fire in their general direction in return. The chaos seemed to last forever, and we probably ceased fire after a couple of minutes. We advanced forward to close in on the enemy and secure the area, and it was the first time I ever saw the enemy up close. There they were, 3 dead Viet Cong soldiers laying in a pool of their own blood. I couldn't believe that I was looking at 3 human beings that were alive just moments ago. Young guys who maybe had sisters or brothers and parents. They were probably just chilling around moments before we arrived, and here we are moments later, looking at their motionless bodies. But I must say that I felt justified, because they were the enemy, and they would have been standing over our dead bodies instead. A few days later...
Hey, bro, that's another thing you have to like come to terms with, right? Like, you have to like come to terms with the fact that like you're almost part of a conflict that's like out of your hands. Like, you not beefing with bro, the countries are beefing. But if you don't do what you got to do to survive, like they just gonna kill you. So it's like you almost can't have like empathy out there. If you have empathy, you're out of there, bro. That's just crazy. That's a wild life. And then my thing is like, how did they do that? And then you just go home and be like, you know, did you want to try out this Toyota Camry? Like, bro, I blew somebody's head off, bro. I did that. I can't tell you what the APR is on this. I'm crazy. You feel me? Like, I can't tell you about the Toyota thought. Huh? It's just weird. Crazy what you expected human beings to do. It was normal. Like, if you didn't do it, they like, not this war, but I feel like in previous wars you didn't go to war. They called you like a coward. Like, bro, you go. Tell me how it is, bro. Write me a letter about it. I'm cool. I'll be everywhere you go, everywhere you go. In the neighborhood. I'm cool. I'm chilling. So, anyways.
We got assigned to a different location, which saw heavier casualties and needed more support. I grew accustomed to the violence and saw many of our young men die painfully. One day, I was told by my NCO that someone wanted to speak with me. I was greeted by an older man in his late 50s who looked totally out of place. His demeanor was calculated and predictive, and even my commanding officer seemed to have turned into a yes man in front of him. He introduced himself as Frederick Douglass, an intelligence officer stationed nearby, and that I was going to be assigned...
As what? He introduced himself as what? I don't even know where this is gonna go. I don't know. Maybe Frederick Douglass is a super nigga. He's a super nigga. He a soup. You know what I'm saying? He survived the whole time, and now he's sharing war secrets. I don't know. Let's see.
...to him as an RTO for his unit. I liked my unit and wanted to stay with them, but orders are orders, and I had no choice, so I got on the Huey and went with him. We landed in a heavily wooded area next to a few Viet Cong huts. It was heavily built up by the enemy, and I could definitely imagine the fight that must have taken place here. There were some guys who had gas masks on and others standing nearby, but they didn't seem to notice me or even care that I was there. It was a very strange atmosphere that didn't feel quite right. These guys didn't act like normal soldiers and definitely didn't have the look of fear in their eyes as most of us did. I even tried to talk with some of them, but all I got was a strange, emotionless glare like they were infected with something. Whatever it was, they all had it, and it made me feel very uneasy. Officer Douglas and I entered one of the smaller huts, and I was told to stay put until someone would come and get me. I should have just stayed there and waited, but I was too curious and apprehensive to relax. So I just made my way out towards the main tent and took a peek inside. What I saw made my stomach drop like it never had before. On a makeshift table lay 6 murky containers. Each one of them had a severed head of a guerrilla fighter inside, with several tubes and wires protruded from them. A green liquid seemed to be reacting with the heads, as their mouths and eyes were quivering like they were half alive. I suddenly felt a hand grab onto my shoulder. It was Intelligence Officer Douglas, and he looked very upset. I meekly asked what they were doing inside.
Isn't that crazy? And then, this whole time, you have to act like this nigga's name is not Frederick Douglass. You have to just be like, oh, I'm sorry, Officer Douglas. I didn't mean to look in there. And he's like, yeah. Nigga, your name is Frederick Douglass. I don't know what you're doing. I'm just trying to make sure I'm good right now. I don't know where I'm at. Everybody being weird. Niggas not talking to me. And your name is Frederick Douglass, bro. I'm already in Vietnam. Don't act like I'm crazy. All right? Don't act like I'm... What y'all niggas got heads in here for with green liquid? Nigga, this ain't Batman. What the fuck? You want to talk to me? What you doing? Shut up. Answer the question. What's going on, bro? I want to go home, bro. Yeah, you like I'm crazy. What's up?
There, but he angrily said that I should not have gone in there and sent me back to my hut. We must have been attacked or something, because I woke up a day later in triage with several broken ribs and a fractured collarbone, with no memory of anything that happened right after that. I never saw Officer Frederick Douglass or those soldiers ever again during my time, if that was even his real name. And I often wonder what those guys were doing.
No, that was not his real name, nigga. Keep it
back there. Maybe they were trying to gather intelligence from dead enemy soldiers or something. Either way, it was a strange experience that I'll never forget.
Alright. That one wasn't as bad. I like that one. That one was more of kind of like a Call of Duty Zombies plot. I like that. That first one was... They came out swinging with that one. I'm glad it's over with, though. I'm a little anxious about this third one. I think it won't be as bad. I just hope they just can't play the sound effect, bro. I don't need no more of that. But yeah, let's get to it. I like that one. That one was fun.
All names in the story will be changed, and all locations will be left out. This experience has left me very paranoid in a lot of ways. It was the late hours of the night. I could feel the thud of my heartbeat inside of my chest as our armored vehicle veered off the gravel road, plowing through the dense underbrush. It had been weeks since Bravo unit had gone silent, vanishing like a wisp of smoke on a windy day. The distress call had crackled through our comms earlier, an unexpected sign of life from our long-missing comrades. But what haunted me more than their sudden reemergence was the content of their message. A cryptic string of numbers repeating endlessly. "Sergeant Davis, are you sure this is the place?" I asked over the static hiss of the radio cutting through the silence that had settled over our squad. That's what command confirmed.
Nigga said the cutting hiss of the radio. I mean, that's a storyteller. I don't know if this guy is saying that or if he's reading these stories how they were written, but these, I mean, hey bro, you was in the wrong profession. You didn't have to do this, you know? A cutting hiss. Like what? Who says that?
"Get ready," Davis replied. As our vehicle came to a halt, the dense fog seemed to get worse. We disembarked into the unknown, the silence of the abandoned base growing increasingly unsettling. Buildings stood like hollowed-out husks, with windows shattered, doors ajar. A living town not even a few weeks ago, now just a ghost town. Davis ordered us in a whisper to stay sharp as we moved forward. with our boots crunching on broken glass and debris. Signs of a struggle were everywhere. Overturned furniture, bloodied rags, and scattered ammunition littered the ground, painting a picture of the chaos that had taken place here recently. The base, once a bustling hub of military activity, was eerily silent now, except for our own shallow breaths and the distant, echoing cry of the numbers broadcast. As we neared the command center, the transmission grew louder, a constant chant that seemed to bore into my mind, its meaning as elusive as the shadows in the fog surrounding us. Entering the command center, we found it abandoned, the air stale, the only light coming from the blinking consoles. The radio speakers, crackling with static, repeated the sequence over and over in a monotone voice.
5, 8, 2, 4, 7. 5, 8, 2, 4, 7.
Corporal Lee whispered, "What does it mean?" I saw her eyes were wide as she scanned the room. Commander Haskins might have known, Davis said. Commander Haskins was the name of the unit's leader who had vanished along with his team. We continued our search through the desolate base, hoping to find a clue, a survivor, anything. But it was the laboratory that changed everything. The door was ajar, hanging off its hinges as if forced open. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of decay and chemicals. Shattered vials and overturned equipment were signs of activity halted abruptly. And then we saw them. Bodies. Members of Bravo Unit, or what was left of them, were sprawled across the floor, their faces contorted in expressions of terror. It was a massacre. But the cause was unclear. No bullet wounds, no signs of struggle on their remains. And then, Lee gestured toward a corner of the room. There, amidst the pile of research notes and hastily abandoned experiments, lay the body of Commander Haskins. Clutched in his stiff, lifeless hand was a notepad, the numbers 58247 scrawled across it in shaky handwriting, followed by a single, chilling sentence. "They're coming for us." The revelation struck us like a...
See, I don't know. This seems too much like a movie. This seems too much like a Nazi zombies plot, like the last one, or like a movie. I don't know. We gonna see. This is a good one. I like this one. I would have been turned around already, though. Again, I want to re-emphasize. I would have been left this situation. As soon as we got to the Manila Band, I'd be like, "Yeah, y'all, turn the car around now." Like, "Nah, man, we need to stick to our duty. Turn the car around, or I'm gonna pull the pin on this grenade. Everybody here gonna die. Turn the car around now." Go drop me off now. I'll take all the blame. Go drop me off. You think I'm playing? Come on. Come on, let's go. Play with me, please. I'm begging you. Drop me off.
Physical blow. The implications of his words spiraling into a million questions with no answers. Who was coming for them? Was this distress call not a beacon of hope, but a warning? It was then that the reality of our situation descended upon us. The isolation, the eerie silence broken only by that relentless string of numbers. We were not the rescuers. We were the next victims. Panic set in as the base seemed to close in on us. The fog outside felt like it was thickening. Our only choice was to flee. We ran, stumbling through the fog, guided by the distant light of our vehicle. The numbers continued to echo in my mind, a chant that seemed to follow us, whispering through the fog. Just as the vehicle came into view, a shadow emerged from the mist. A chill colder than death itself crawled up my spine as the strange man cloaked in shadow moved towards us. "We need to go now." Davis's shout snapped me back to reality, the urgency in his voice mirroring a primal fear within me. Our training had prepared us for many different types of enemies, but we had no idea what we were dealing with here. We scrambled into the vehicle. Lee's hands were shaking as she manned the communications, with obvious fear and shaking in her voice. "This is Alpha Unit calling command. Mayday, Mayday. We need immediate extraction from Zone Bravo. Do you copy? Over." The radio crackled, the numbers interrupting her plea for help.
5, 8, 2, 4, 7.
I couldn't shake the feeling that those numbers held some kind of meaning into what we had stumbled into. As the base faded into the distance, swallowed by the fog, so too did the person who emerged from the shadows of the fog. Yet the terror it inspired lingered as we raced toward an uncertain future. Davis broke the silence and said, "We can't let this end here. We need to find out what those numbers mean and what happened to Bravo unit."
No,
I
we
wanted
don't.
nothing more.
Hey, no, we don't, Davis. I think we can leave Bravo unit to rest. Rest. Let them rest. Bravo unit cool, bro. They don't need us no more. Man in the hood, we don't need to know about them numbers. We don't need to know about the guy in the cloak. We can just actually act like this didn't happen. I'm cool with that, Davis. What do you want to? What do you want? What is it that you want to do? You want to go back? Oh nah, bro. You gonna have to probably just go ahead and fight me to the death, cause that's what's gonna happen if we go back there. So, talking about you and we can't let this in here. Boy, don't take your Disney movie ass. No.
Than to find these things out as well. I felt like we owed it to them, thinking of the twisted, lifeless bodies we'd left behind. As the first light of dawn began to pierce the darkness, I felt a grim determination settle over me. We had survived the night, but the real battle felt like it was just beginning. Armed with nothing but a string of numbers and the haunting memories of what we had witnessed, the mystery of those numbers and the horrors of what could have happened to Bravo unit still remain a mystery. And it stays with me, haunting me. I'm sure it stays with everyone from my unit. The horrors at that base were just a chapter in a story far greater and more terrifying than any of us could have imagined.
Get outro. Okay. No. Get this out of here. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining the channel. I was genuinely terrified by all that. Had a lot of fun with it though. Hey, look, I hope you have a good day. You know what I'm saying? I hope you have a better night than I'm about to have, because one thing I'm not about to do is get a good amount of sleep. That's one thing I'm definitely not about to do. Lights on in this bitch. Lights on for sure. So that's just it. It was cool though. That was fun. I mean, like, jeez. Look, y'all have a good day, man. I appreciate y'all coming to hang out on the channel. Peace.